All right, hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. How is my camera here? Let's see, there we go. So yeah, back after a couple days of absence, so we'll get into all that. But before we talk about what's going on in the stream today, or on the stream today, I guess you might say, I want to remind everyone that Gunforged is available for purchase. It's my first real commercial release as a full-time indie developer. It's got very positive reviews, and it's a 2D goofy fantasy roguelite shooter. You could purchase it for $8.99 or get it as part of a bundle for a combined discount. So yeah, definitely check that out if you're interested. It's a great way to support me, and leave a review if you end up playing it. That would be very much appreciated. I also have my Udemy courses. This one is the Survivor style course, which is in GD script. I also have a C# course that you might be interested in checking out. And this month I will be producing a new Godot networked multiplayer course. So if you're interested in picking that up, then hit the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, all that good stuff, so that you can be notified when the course goes live. And finally, in terms of the announcements / ads here, I have a pinned message in the live chat, which is the link to the Google form to submit your Godot project for code review. So how did everyone like that code review video that I released accidentally on Thursday instead of Friday? Did everyone like it? That video has actually gotten more views in the first, couple days than any other video I've done in a while. So yeah, there's a lot of interest in that series, it seems. So we'll definitely be continuing that. I think I already have the next code review project lined up, but the forum is still open, and I'm just kind of like, there's no order in which I'm choosing the projects to review. I'm basically just looking for a project that offers a lot of interesting things to talk about. And that could be anything. Again, you can submit a project that's at any stage of development. I think it would be interesting to take a project that's got like white boxing and some bare bones systems in place, and so we can flesh those out a little bit more. But it's also interesting to look at projects that are more complete and sort of like deconstruct or analyze, you know, how they operate and how all the data is flowing through the system and all that stuff. So anyway, those ads are now over. Hello, Kenyaz, welcome back. Luca, good to see you with the yup message. Craig, always good to see you as well. I'm doing well. How are you? Adam with the non sequitur opening. That's funny. Welcome back, Adam. Hello, Paul. Anyone worked here with grid map before? Currently using it, going over the map, instantiating scenes for each cell and hiding original cells. Just wondering if that's a scalable approach. I have not. Grid map is 3D, right? I've heard people complain about the grid map and how lacking it is in features, but that's the extent of my knowledge about grid map. Good morning, Christopher. Welcome back. Good to see you again. Newness Games, good to see you as well. Cat. If you're referring to my cat is doing well now, so he is keeping his food down. He's off all of his anti-nausea medications. So we will just hope that that continues indefinitely. All right, so yeah, I missed a couple days of the stream because I had a friend visiting from out of state, and so he was staying here, and obviously, you know, playing video games was more important than doing the stream. So we were playing V Rising, which was a lot of fun, and we are still playing V Rising, but just not in person together. So anyway, enough of that. Let's figure out what we're doing today. I'm gonna start working on an artifact system. That's the last like major feature that I want to add to the game before I make like a playable demo. So I figured, you know, while I'm stuck on a lot of these visual issues, which is kind of where we left off on Thursday, just trying to figure out where to put everything, what to do with this section up here. I was toying around with health bars and stuff. Oh, that's right, we did a marionette too. That's cool. So I was toying around with health bars and stuff, positioning. So yeah, I'm kind of still stumped on the visual stuff. I need to like just doodle a bunch, probably off stream. But I know that the artifact system needs to be added. And the artifact system is basically just going to be the items that you can get during a run that give you passive bonuses. So it's like Slay the Spire, basically, where you get those artifacts that will change, hopefully, how you play the game. So I already have a couple of interesting artifacts written down. You know, I'm like all minion cards generate 1 tier higher. Boosters offer 1 additional option. Start each combat encounter with 1 health. All poison damage heals equal to damage dealt. That's an interesting one. All minion cards gain 20% crit chance. Ooh, that's an interesting one. After each combat, ooh, that's a good one too. Ooh, there's a lot of cool ones. Interesting. Very cool. Well, there's just some cool artifacts right there. Anyway, so we need a system in place so that way I can add these artifacts. So you can see that these artifact ideas, they basically have global effects on how the game behaves. So we're going to design a system for that and see if we can make that not a spaghetti mess. And then we will we'll see how it goes. So I think the first thing to do is pick which one I want to start with. And of course, we'll be drawing icons for all these too. So there's going to be art associated with all these artifacts, which I guess I would have to decide what size I want the artifacts to be. I think I'll just do 18 by 18, which is the size of the grid cells here. I think 18 by 18 artifact is big enough to draw something that you can actually see. And then of course, we need to figure out where on the screen to actually display these artifacts. That's another consideration to be made. We're starting to run out of space, which is not ideal. I'm almost tempted to increase the size of this left column here and just put them in a row or something, or a column rather, going up and down. The other option is to have like a maybe have like a little grid down here or something, or something that's toggleable. Or I could even just put it below here in a line. I think these play controls have to move. I'm kind of actually, let me do that first. I'm going to move those play controls down to the bottom because I think that's where they're going to go. Speed controls. Yeah, we'll just keep them there for now. Okay, yeah, we'll just put those out of the way. Cool. Alrighty. It's basically just meshes, so only really use it for painting maps and such. Oh, gotcha. I have a mostly complete inversion of control structure done for my template. It's very handy. Awesome. That does sound useful. Which games did you both play? V-Rising, yeah. V-Rising, we just got done playing Lords of the Fallen with the new Lords of the Fallen update. We're both huge Souls fans. We did the Dark Souls 3 seamless co-op that recently came out. We played through Dark Souls 3 together. We did Elden Ring seamless co-op. We did V-Rising, yeah, all that good stuff. We used to play League of Legends a lot together, but that was many years ago, back in the college days. Hello, Emerson. Just came back at the same time as the new GTA 6 trailer. Oh, interesting. Isn't that... GTA 6 was delayed by another year, wasn't it? Do you need to sell now that you have a shop? Do you need sell now that you have a shop? Oh yeah, the sell here. So this is just basically an always present mechanism of clearing your inventory. So you could just drag cards here to get rid of them. So that's the idea, is like, this is what the bazaar does, is you have a limited inventory where you can store cards, but you can always sell cards by just like dragging them to the top of the screen in the bazaar. And I think that's a really elegant way of like solving the problem of what happens if the player's inventory is full and they get another card that they want to add. They can just always sell, right? And then I can just create room for the card that I want to take. Or, you know, the other option is I could just drag that booster card directly into the sell here and just get money from that booster. So there is no situation where a card goes to waste, right? Where you get a card and it's like, oh, I can't use anything from that booster pack and I don't want to replace anything in my inventory. So I could just always get money from it, always get currency from it. Welcome back to the interweb. Thank you, AnyKey. Welcome back to you. Going to submit it to the code review form if that's all right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You are welcome to submit any projects. Again, there's no guarantee that I will cover any projects, but if I think I can create an interesting video from it, then it will definitely be a candidate. All right, so enough interacting with the chat. I'm going to ignore you now all for a little bit. Hello, Lion Beast. Because we need to get started on this artifact system. Oh, let's just do tweaks. Okay, so the artifact system that we want to get in place, the first thing we want to do is what? Start each combat encounter with 1 health, all poison damage heals equal to damage dealt. So I think I'm going to use a custom resource for the artifacts. So let's start there. So I'm going to do the same thing that I'm doing for the cards, is I will just put all of the artifact resources in an artifact directory, and that will be like the artifact registry is what I call them. That will be loaded up on load initially, and then I can just configure a bunch of data in that custom resource, like the name and the art and all that stuff, and a description about what it does. Now the question I should probably answer too is that, do I want artifacts to be unique in the run, or should you be able to stack artifacts? I might have to do what I do in Gunforged for the passive. So in Gunforged, there are some passives that can stack, and then there are some passives that are unique. So like this one would have to be a unique passive. Start each combat encounter with 1 health. All poison damage heals equal to damage dealt. But for this one, all minion cards gain 20% crit chance. There's no reason why that one can't be stacked, right? So if you could get 5 of them, you'd have 100% crit chance. Okay, I think this is going to be rather straightforward, actually. I don't really see any major technical issues here. And now that I've said that, we're going to slowly discover a technical issue, I'm sure. So there's the artifact there. Let's go to scripts, data. Let's create an artifact folder. Is this not big enough? Oh, yeah, it's just the... Okay, anyway, new file. Oh, let's do artifact resource. Game.data.artifact artifact public partial artifact resource. Why did that not use Godot? Thank you. Make this a global class. Card definition resource. I am just going to copy all of this and paste this in here because I'm going to be using a lot of the same things. So this is going to be res scripts. Oh, that's the script path. We probably don't need that actually. Display name, art, dimensions we don't need. We don't need excluded cells, is flippable tags. Critical, we don't need any of this. Initialize, ID equals resource path, get base name, split. Duplicate as artifact resource. I don't think we need to reassign anything that's exported, so this doesn't need to be there. Artifact resource. Okay. There we go. There's our basic artifact resource there. So we need to build. How many forms did you get and how many do you think you can review? Right now, I think there's, excluding the one that I've already covered, there's 10 projects. So yeah, obviously, I could shut down the form right now if I wanted to review all of them. But again, I just kind of want to have a variety of pickings so that I can hopefully showcase a variety of projects and concepts, because I don't want to just be saying the same thing every time, like, oh, this project is also using composition and I'm going to reiterate how this works again. You know, I kind of want to explore unique things every review, and then hopefully like this series becomes a good overview on all kinds of concepts, right? Rather than rehashing the same thing over and over again. Hello, Yasso. Thank you. Welcome back to you as well. Jesse the Fish. Good to see you. Okay, so there's the artifact. So create new resource. Artifact resource. Which one are we doing? I mean, we could probably do multiple of these. We'll just make the stream all artifact focused. Boosters offer one additional option. Booster option. We'll just call this one booster option. We're going to call this an artifact. What would be an artifact related to opening boosters? So the boosters are graves, which Kinyaz hates. But we need something like an artifact that would assist you in grave digging. We need some kind of artwork that assists you with grave digging that will give you one additional choice in your booster pack. Hello, Damien. 100% not actually fish. Yeah, I sure hope not. I would be terrified, actually. I was thinking of making a generic asteroids game to practice shaders with. I think it could be a good one to review since I know nothing. There's a lot to learn. Sure, yeah. You are welcome to submit it. Absolutely. I can send you some spaghetti with single character variable names. No typing, bad outdated comments, global vars, everything. Give you lots to talk about. If you want to do that, you are more than welcome to do that. Actually, the project that I want to review next, that I'm going to review next, has a couple of like weird things going on. Couple of spaghetti things going on. Well, I don't know if spaghetti is the right word, but there are definitely ways that I could suggest for making the code clearer, basically. Will you please give an overlook of the game? I haven't been following the series. Thank you, Christopher. Sure, Lion Piece. Yeah, let's just do a quick overview here. So basically, this game is I gotta come up with a better elevator pitch because it's very wordy right now, but it's a collectible card game, grid inventory management, auto battler with a necromancy / medieval science / alchemy theme, where you basically organize your grid like so with your cards, and each card has unique abilities. So the skeletons deal damage. This salamander deals 4 damage, applies fire, but also has crit chance and crit damage. And basically the idea is that you are going to be crafting your cards, collecting cards to create an optimal grid layout so that you can beat the auto battler encounters. So I'm just going to skip through this real quick so I can show you. So here I can choose between 3 different combat encounters. We'll fight the villager and the windmill. These enemies also have their own unique abilities. And so I lay out my grid the way that I want it to be, and then basically what I do is it becomes an auto battler at that point. So cards have turn cooldowns, and when they complete their turn cooldown, they execute the ability that's on the card. So the hook of this game is the alchemy system, which allows you to mix and match cards to create cards that can't typically be found in the game. So I can mix, let's see if I can get an alchemy here. Well, I can do it in here. So we'll do alchemy down here. So I could take a skeleton, I could combine it with this Amanita muscaria, which applies 2 poison. I can mix those things together, and the output will be a skeleton that can now apply poison, or a mushroom that can apply damage. So the idea is that you just keep collecting cards, upgrading cards, alchemizing things, enchanting things to create a very powerful board to beat all of the enemy encounters. So that's the idea. That's a very basic rundown. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome back. Good to see you again. If a goldfish could play Pokemon, then this fish can watch a stream. Oh, I'm not sure I get that reference. Oh, is there like a... Oh, is that a reference? Wait a minute. Am I making this up, or was there like a Twitch stream where a goldfish was playing Pokemon? Like based on its movement? Is that right or no? Hey, Code Red. Good to see you here. Welcome back. All right, so we need some art ideas for this booster option. I guess I'll just... Goodness gracious, I don't know why I can't think of anything for this. Well, we'll just call this X for now. We'll replace that later. Art. Let's just do a placeholder texture for now. 18 by 18. Cool. All right, so we got our booster option here. Oh, we need a description field as well. So let's do this. Export, actually, let's do this. Export public string description get private set property hint dot multi-line text. Okay, booster packs offer one additional option. All right, so now we actually need to make this functional. So we've got the definition here. Let's go ahead and create an artifact registry. I really don't know what's going on here, but we're going to ignore that for now. Artifact registry. I wonder if I should just put that in here instead. I'm just going to put it with the rest of the artifact stuff. Artifact registry. Artifact. Resources, data, artifact. We don't need this. Base. I'll just call it base path. Artifact registry. Register artifacts. This doesn't need to be here. From ID, ID to resource, dot duplicate, artifact resource. We don't need this. Do I want to duplicate it? I guess I will duplicate it. That's fine. Okay, register artifacts, base path. Yep, base path, adjusted file name, artifact, resource. None of this is necessary anymore. And we're going to do artifact ID. And we'll do public const string. I don't know what to call it yet, so we'll just call it, oh, right, no, wait. Booster option. Okay, that'll work. So we've got our artifact registry in place. All right, so we've got our artifact registry. So now I should be able to create like an artifact manager here. So let me go to my run manager. Probably gonna want an artifact manager in here. So we'll go ahead and do that. So scripts or scenes manager, create new scene. Artifact manager, okay. Scripts manager. Game.manager. We don't need this here. Private list artifact resource artifacts. Make this a read only. I do actually want to do this. This dot add to group as soon as it's initialized. Node extensions, nope. Here. Artifact manager. Cool. All right, so now we can create a method in here for adding artifacts. Public void add artifact. Artifact resource. And then we'll probably want a signal in here. Signal public delegate void artifact added event handler. and we'll pass in the artifact resource, emit signal, artifact added, artifact resource. Okay, cool. So there's our basic setup there. That's the reference. Okay, I got it. I didn't make up the fact that a goldfish played on Twitch.tv and beat Pokemon. Interesting. You making an auto battler? I am, Code Red, I am. Hello, Raku. I really liked your composition video. Thank you. I'm doing a programming career in the university and trying to learn game development on Godot. The first thing I learned is that I have no idea what to do with the coding I've been taught. Yeah, and that's going to come with experience. I think my opinion on like learning programming at universities is like there's a bunch of problems. If you're in a computer science degree, they tend to focus quite a lot on like theory and like very narrow applications of that theory, which is useful, but it's not useful for building modern software. It's not useful for building a SaaS app to know like a lot of things in sort of computer science theory. It's more practical knowledge. And the same with game development, right? The other issue is that if your professors have been professors for 10 or 20 years, they don't know what modern game development or software development looks like, so they can't teach you that thing. So anyway, that was my experience in college anyway. I don't think any of my college professors knew how to set up like a modern web tech stack, for instance, for deploying like a SaaS app or something. So that's something that you have to learn on the job or on your own. Hello, Artem. Welcome back. Always good to see you. Joshua, thank you for the $10 super chat. Very much appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you and congrats on Gunforge's release. Hope you're well. Love the code review vid, but what's a fellow dev got to do to pick your brain for an hour if that's something you're interested in? Well, thank you. And thank you for your interest in that. But yeah, I think I won't rule it out, but I'm not interested in doing any like consulting stuff or like one-on-one meeting stuff at the moment. That may change in the future, but yeah, what I'm trying to do is like just make whatever I have to talk about or to teach about, I just want to make that publicly accessible in some way where you don't need my time. You can just go to like Udemy and purchase the course, or you can just go to one of my videos and watch that, you know. But you know, like I said, I'm not going to say absolutely not, but just not at this time, if that makes sense. University is great for teaching you how to jump through weird arbitrary hoops, gets you ready to announce for the annoyance of corporate life, like mandatory meetings that could be a Google chat. Right? Yes. Yeah. I think you'd be surprised at what you can get away with though in the corporate world. Like sometimes I would just not attend meetings and no one ever said anything. Do you make all your own artwork? Yes, I'm doing all the artwork for my game. The only exception really is that I didn't make up the color palette myself. I chose the color palette off of the website Low Spec. But after I chose the color palette, yes, I'm drawing all the art by hand. And actually, if you look at the previous VODs, actually the VOD from Thursday, I think, is where I drew the marionette. So you can kind of see what that looks like in real time. Depends on the meeting. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if obviously you want to attend meetings are important to your work, but I need a course on extensible ability systems and delegate state machines. But no, totally get it. So let's be real, as a work from home dev, I hate meetings, especially with internet rando. Yeah. I do need to do a state machine. I think I might just do one state machine video that shows the delegate state machine and the callable state machine, because those are like counterparts to each other. One's in GDScript and one's in C#. But anyway, we'll figure that out. There's a lot of work to do. I'm going to be producing a lot of video content this month when I get started on the course, on recording the course. Oh boy, lots to do. Lots to do. But anyway, this artifact. So now we actually need the artifact to be functional. So I have a way of adding artifacts, but currently that's not going to do anything. Let's do this. I definitely need to make like an artifact script, I think. Do I need to do that? So one way of implementing the artifact is to use inheritance, use interfaces or an abstract class to define like events. As methods, and then to call those methods on all artifacts when those events happen. So for instance, for this booster offers one additional option, what I could have is a method that's like modify booster reward count or whatever, and then have a method overridden in this booster that we're currently working on, or this artifact, to return an additional booster option. The problem though is that that's probably not going to be overridden anywhere else. So I would just have, you know, dozens of artifacts with only one of them having overridden that method. So that's why I don't really like doing that. The other option is just to check, just to reach out to this artifact manager and do like public int get artifact count by ID, something like that, string ID, and then we just return artifacts.count where the IDs are equal. Right, so I could do something like that. So then when I go to my booster event state machine, I think, booster card selection. Set booster affinities. Why is that being done in here? I think I might move this. Yeah, I think this makes more sense. Hopefully that doesn't break anything. I want to keep as much logic out of this as possible. This is my game UI script. This just has methods for creating the various UIs that I need to create, but the state machine should be the ones where all the logic takes place. But the problem here is that pick cards with tags 03. Right. So this is where I need that count to be modified. I think my loot table is all messed up too, so I'm going to need to fix that. The loot table is sometimes returning results that are not correct. But anyway, this 3 number, so var cards to pick is equal to 3. So this is what I would do. Var booster option artifact count is equal to this dot get artifact manager artifact ID dot booster option 0 cards to pick plus booster option artifact count. So that's one way of doing it. So I don't even need to write a script for that artifact. I could just check it in here to see if the artifact manager has that artifact. So, you know, it's something that I can do. I think that's fine if this is the only place where this artifact is going to have an effect. So I think I'll just leave it like that, and I'll refactor as necessary later. But there's no reason to add like a method that gets overridden that will just modify this count. That's going to be, I think, a little bit overkill there. So yeah, I mean, that's basically it. So if I were to test this, I'm pretty sure that this is just going to work. So if I do this dot get artifact manager dot add artifact registry dot from ID artifact ID dot booster option, I should now get 4 cards out of each booster pack, I think. It looks great, especially if your background is in programming. Thank you, I appreciate that. That'd be dope. Oh, I don't remember what that's in reference to, but thank you. Hello, thank you for the super chat. Thank you. Surely. Very much appreciate that. That's very generous. Speaking of meetings, got one soon, so I'll be back later. Okay, sounds good. One second. Is this course going to be in C#? It's going to be, no, GD script. Yeah, GD script. Shameless idea, but have you considered having a dynamic background like in Balatro? I definitely want there to be some animated background elements. I was actually thinking more like along the lines of Hearthstone, where like there's interactable elements where like you can just click things. Like this little guy that's hanging from a tree here, I think it'd be really funny if you could just like click it and cut him down, you know? But just like a procedural or like shader based background, I'm not sure. So yeah, I'll have to think about that. Announces you, you son of a... Take my money, yes. Well, thank you. Hello, Dusty. Welcome back. Always good to see you. That would be dope, was to you saying you might do a state machine video. Oh, thank you. Yes. Thank you. I looked at my code base for my game and I realized it was just a big pile of spaghetti. Would feel bad submitting it. Well, just dump some pasta sauce on it and it'll be fine. I'm just kidding. No, you can definitely submit it. I think it would be fun to look at a spaghetti code base and try to like untangle it a little bit. Why do I have an error? Yeah, that's the question that I need to look at now. Object reference not set to an instance of object. Oh, it's because I never added the artifact manager here. Okay, let's try it now. C# not supporting web exports is a big letdown for me. Hopefully that changes soon. Yeah, I sure hope so too. Let's see if we get 4 booster options. Boom, 4 booster options. Check that out. So that's basically working already. And if I just add another one, I should get 5 booster options because there's nothing that's preventing it from stacking. Boom, look at that. Cool, so that's working. Now the problem is, if I don't cap it, and you collect like 5 of them, it's going to create a mess, I think. Oh, that didn't even work in that case. Oh, because there's not even enough cards for that. Oh. There's not even enough cards to generate enough. Well, I'm sure that will be an issue in the future. Oh, there we go. Actually, that's not terrible. Are these all ritual, really? Why do I have so many ritual cards? Cool. Anyway, we will cross that bridge when we get there, but yeah, that's working great. So now let's figure out some art for it. So we want art, and we want to place this in a UI somewhere. Maybe we'll get started on the UI. I think it's just going to be very simple. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'll just create a new scene. Margin container. That is a good looking grave. Oh, you're going to start a huge fight in the comments here. Artifact container. So I'll put this in the UI directory. New folder, artifact. That's funny. Okay, so artifact container. Well, let's see. So we definitely want this to be ignore. Margin top, let's do 8, I guess. 8 pixels. This HBox container, we're going to shrink center, shrink begin. Okay, so let's actually draw some art here. Assets. I'll just do like an atlas texture here, I guess. Cool. All right, so we need some kind of item now. I'm going to add actually a background. What do I want to do for this booster option? I don't even know what I want to call it thematically. Do I want to make it like a shovel? Another shovel? Like a spade? Ooh, maybe a spade would be good. That is a thick... Okay, I think that will work, maybe. That is so thick. That'll work. I think that'll work. So yeah, we're just drawing some stuff, you know. You know how it goes. Oops, what did I just do? I'm not sure I like that. Okay. Well, we'll just keep drawing. I don't know. I don't know. I'm wondering again if I should just fill this in with purple instead. Ooh, that looks kind of better actually. Yeah, I like that better. This though, I don't really have a whole lot. Yeah, I think I'll just leave it the way it is. Okay, I think that's okay. I think that's fine. One thing that I want to do though is I want to shrink that down a little bit so that I can do an outline on it now. Just to be consistent with what I'm doing everywhere else. Okay. I'm still torn on component scripts living next to the component or in a scripts component folder. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. That's I like keeping them in a separate scripts folder for reasons I've mentioned before. Meeting over, I'm back. Welcome back, Jesse. I swear I thought you were working on a keyblade at first. No keyblades here. There's this thick shovel, heavy duty, yeah. The thing is, it seems like I'm the only one concerned with the grave. Either you are all knowingly complacent or I'm tweaking. Let's go with knowingly complacent. Yorick approves. Yes, Yorick. Just found your channel. Really like your game design and Gunforge. Thank you. Nika Potato. What is the Sprite GUI app called? It's A Sprite. Thank you, Adam. Yeah. Spelling is hard. Well, you can be forgiven because it's not a real word. It's a proper noun. So anyway, so there's that. And if I export the artifacts.png, we'll do an atlas texture here. I'll just call this a spade, I guess. New atlas texture, artifacts, Oops. 18 by 18. Kerblam. There we go. We got our art now. All right, so now that we've got the art in place for that artifact, we need to have a way of showing that in here. So what I'm going to do is, should I just use texture rects for this? I think it's going to be wise to make this a separate script. So I'm going to make this a artifact display. I don't know. Artifact display. 18 by 18 custom minimum size. Keep centered. Okay. Let's save this branch as a scene. Artifact display. Create new folder, artifact under the UI folder here. Okay, so now I can add a script. Game.ui.artifact. Oh, I don't have a script for the artifact container. So we're going to want a script for that as well. Okay, public void set artifact. Artifact resource artifact. I think that'll be fine, just setting the texture for now. So this artifact container now, what I'm going to do is load this as a placeholder, I suppose. Artifact display placeholder. Node, private instance, placeholder, artifact display placeholder. Public override void ready. This dot get artifact manager dot connect artifact manager dot artifact added signal name dot artifact added callable dot from on artifact added. Private void on artifact added. Create instance as artifact display. Okay, I think that's basically it. So let's see what happens. Hopefully this works. We should be able to see the artifact when we edit or enter the game. Okay, we can't see the artifact. Did I remove that from my run manager? No, it's still here. Okay. Oh. I don't think I ever added it to my game UI, did I? I did not. Artifact container. Okay, now let's try it. There we go. There's our shovel. I might make that left aligned instead, actually. Shrink begin. Boom. Oh. Did it go behind the health globe? I think it went behind the health globe. Okay, so I'm going to need a left and right padding here. This is a mess. Let's just do 128. Okay. Actually, maybe I should align it more with that. But I don't know. Oh no, I don't know what distance that is. Shoot. Hello, Vladimir. I see that your animation's working in the scene inspector. Trying to figure out why it's not working for me. Maybe someone can share the secret. Animation's working in the scene inspector. Can you elaborate a little bit on what you're seeing in my setup that you're not seeing in yours? Animation's working in the scene inspector. Yeah, I'm happy to help. I'm just not sure exactly what the issue is that you're experiencing. Is there a specific reason you don't use GDScript with C# on this project as well? Yeah, it's mostly just for the structure, abstract classes, interfaces, all that kind of thing. Personal preference. Hello, Zane. It's 3 a.m. here. Ooh, how's it going? I've missed the last few episodes. It's going well, actually. I don't know, maybe you haven't missed much because I wasn't streaming on Friday or yesterday. So but yeah, it's going well. Welcome back. Oh, the animated blood and H. Oh, I see, I see. Yeah, so that's not, yeah, so if you have particles running, those will play, but this is actually a shader, and shaders just apply in editor. So there's no animation player and there's no tweens or anything here. This is just a shader with a scrolling texture. So that's why it gets displayed as animated in the editor. So there's nothing specifically that you need to do. It's just if you have a shader that animates the texture, then that will appear in the editor. I'm going to try to modify this. HBox container, play container, artifact container. Can I change these numbers? Yeah, let's do 96. "96 is almost correct. Yeah, let's do 98. Cool, yeah. Glad you got it. If you want an animated player to animate an editor, I think it can be done via toolscript. Yes, you can animate things with a toolscript. Like if you have a tween, you can definitely use a toolscript to make a tween work in the editor. Okay, so I think that's actually good. So there's an artifact working. Let's maybe get a more interesting artifact in place. So that one works. Obviously, I'm going to need to work on a system for acquiring artifacts as well, but I think it's interesting to just get them working first. So we've got one artifact. We've kind of got a rough setup here with the artifact registry and the artifact custom resource. And yeah. Yeah. We got a lot of viewers here. Welcome, everybody. Are you all coming from all coming from that code review video. My live stream's getting recommended to all the people that watch the code review video, maybe. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to all the new viewers. Good to have you here. And the VOD watchers and lurkers, too. I know you're out there. Thank you for watching. Very much appreciate it. What's the plan with these artifacts today? Yeah, so the artifacts are like, you know, typical roguelike. You acquire these equipment items that are just passive bonuses, really, that change how the run works. So the artifact that we just made gives you an additional choice when you open a booster pack, which is how you get new cards. So you get an additional choice every time you have an instance of that artifact. The next artifact that we're going to do, we're going to try to make it a little bit more interesting. We've got one that's like start each combat encounter with 1 health and all poison damage heals equal to damage dealt. So that's more of like a global change to how the combat works. That's going to be a lot trickier to get working for an artifact. Same thing with like all minion cards gain 20% crit chance. That's going to be, there's a little bit of trickiness there too, because I need to update the display of the minion cards as well. So I need to be able to update the description of the card when you inspect it and also make that apply when it's actually doing the crit chance calculation. So I think let's do this one. This start each combat encounter with 1 health, all poison damage heals equal to damage dealt. So yeah, so this is an interesting one. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Maybe we'll do that. I do want to do this one. I have this idea of like a spider egg or something that's like every time you complete a combat encounter, it generates like a spiderling. And so it's just like a little minion that's like kind of weak. But the idea is that you just keep getting these minions. And so like you can upgrade the spiderling because you keep getting spider cards. And then like you could eventually end up with a spiderling that's like tier 5 and has like a bunch of ridiculous powers and stuff. And then of course making some other synergies too, like, you know, being able to sacrifice certain minions or whatever, I think would be an interesting idea. But I think this poison one is a good idea. I wrote a script to do a transparent window and the other one was for multiplayer function as ChatGPT. And I was having a hard time with the C++, but I got through it quite quick with GD. Oh, very nice. Yeah. 66 people watching. Well, it went down a little bit. We scared off 4 people. How long have you been on game development? I've been doing game development on and off since I was like 14. I mean, one of the main reasons I got interested in programming was because I wanted to make video games. So I started back in the Game Maker days with the drag and drop. I don't know if anyone remembers that. I was like 14 years old, so that would have been 2008. 2009, something like that. Whatever version of Game Maker was prominent at that point. I think it was like Game Maker 7 or 8 or something. That was when I first started making games with the little drag and drop stuff. Hello, Victor. Welcome. I've been watching since your last game. Always nice to code along someone streaming so I don't lose motivation during the rough parts. Yeah, I do think that, yeah, just working with somebody else actually is a very good productivity booster. It can be, as long as you're not being distracted. But yeah, we got a lot of people working on their projects while they watch these VODs and these lives. Well above average live viewer count. You're a streamer, Harry. I'm a streamer. I'm a niche e-celeb. We know that you'll be sponsored by Red Bull and screaming at chat to stop saying unhinged things. Yeah, I'm gonna start a clips channel too, and I'm gonna start pumping out shorts. And so yeah, my channel is gonna go down in quality for mass appeal very shortly. So be on the lookout for that. I remember you made an FAQ. Where did it go? It's linked in the description below. So if anyone's interested, there's an FAQ. I think it's still linked. We'll see. Thank you, Fiskets. OG Game Maker. I wanted to make an RTS so bad I did not understand what was happening as a kid. Yeah, I went through a phase too where I was like, oh, RTS would be so cool. Because I was playing Age of Mythology a lot for some reason. And yeah, RTS is like obviously not something that any beginner should ever touch. This is Obsidian with the Obsidian Kanban community plugin. Yo-Yo Games forum will be missed. Yep, I spent a lot of time looking through the Yo-Yo Games forum. I think I posted quite a bit there too because I didn't know what I was doing. Right now I'm shifting around some attack logic in my player script into a state machine. Been interesting working on a multiplayer asim. Ooh, very nice. Asymmetric multiplayer. Yeah, there's a lot of asymmetric multiplayer games coming out that I've noticed anyway. Hello, my Coon Dev. Welcome. Yeah, long time no see indeed. Have you ever been interested in creating like AAA games, or was only interested in indie dev? Well, of course, I think like everyone's dream is like, oh, if I could create a AAA fidelity like MMORPG, that's so cool. But you know, it's like, it's all a matter of like what's realistic, right? And I'm just not. I won't really even touch 3D at all because it just creating assets and making it look good just takes so much time. Like I'm more interested in just like trying to get a game that's fun built in a reasonable amount of time. Like that's really all I'm interested in right now. Of course, like, yeah, pie in the sky ideas would be so cool to do like a AAA 3D, you know, awesome looking, stylized open world game, but it's just like not feasible and may never be feasible, you know. I don't know, we'll see. How's the game going? It's going well. Thank you. I don't believe in the third dimension is not real. Okay. Somebody asked about plugin. You missed a chance to say details and description. Yeah, I don't know if did I put that? Oh well, I'll check that later. I have to make sure the FAQ actually contains the answer that people are looking for, because if I send them to the FAQ and it's not there, it'd be kind of weird. AAA gonna force you to put a stupid monetization that ruins the game. That is a risk, yes. Okay, tell you what, I need to go get a refill on my drink, so just give me 2 minutes and I'll be right back. And we are going to make another artifact. This one is going to have a lot more gameplay consequences. So let's go ahead and do that. But first, I do need a 2-minute break. In the meantime, please check out Gunforged, everyone. Gunforged is my commercial release as a first commercial release as a full-time indie developer. It's on Steam right now for $8.99. It's a great way to support me, and I think it's a really fun game too. So watch the trailer. You can download the demo too if you want to try it before you buy it. So definitely check that out. I would appreciate it if you did. I'll be right back in 2 minutes, and we will continue on with this work. All right, I'm back. Welcome back to me. My current project is a 3D game, and I'm making do with crappy 3D models till later in development when I'll probably commission someone for assets. Yeah, I mean, I know this is kind of like, you know, AI is kind of controversial in the game dev space, but I really do hope that the whole AI thing works out and that indie developers like solo developers do gain the ability to create like maybe like AA games, like rich 3D worlds with nice models on that takes a similar amount of time to making like a 2D game. I think that the amount of I think that there's a lot of people with really good visions for really fun games that just can't be realized as a solo team, as a solo person without funding. And I think just like having the tools to be able to like crank out that vision very quickly is just going to give us a lot of gems. In the same way that like the proliferation of consumer game engines gave us a lot of gems, right? Like there's all kinds of really notable games made in Game Maker. There's a lot of games being made in Godot, like cassette beasts that are really popular, right? And of course all the Unity games that made it big, right? And that only happened because the tooling was made available to just like people like me, right? I'm not saying that I'm on par with those developers, but you know. And so if the AI stuff ends up working out, you could have just the capability of a single developer could go 10x, you know, not to speak like an AI bro, but you know what I mean? Hello, Forgotten. Welcome back. Mycoon, thank you so much for the €1.49. I very much appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Very generous. Thank you, everyone, for the super chats this stream. Very much appreciate that. Oh, no, Zane, don't do that to me. Why are you making me think of McDonald's? I had McDonald's too much this weekend. I probably shouldn't have it again. FAQs there, but really has like zero detail, and you never use it. Spent time making it. Why not use it? Well, okay, I'll use it. I think AI has its place. It's just that it's currently being abused too hard by bad actors. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we just have to get through that phase of it. You know, I mean, it's kind of like the Web3 thing, right? The NFTs. It's like, I still think there might be a use for like NFT blockchains. Like if you could imagine, I don't know, this is like a tangent. Maybe we should get back to work. But if you could imagine like the title of your house being on a blockchain as a token that you have absolute ownership of, and it's indisputable that it's owned by you. I think that could be like things like car titles, home titles, maybe like your government ID, like social security, that kind of stuff, like could be a good use of Web3, but it was just like all bad actors like selling like pixel art apes for like $300,000. So, you know, it's like, yeah, that obviously is not practical and has no use whatsoever, but anyway. Yeah, you guys are brainwashing me with the McDonald's. Oh goodness, my coon dev. Is this why you guys are sending me super chats? You want me to make my blood cholesterol go through the roof? Thank you again, though, my coon dev. Very much appreciate that. It's very generous. I'm currently making a 3D game, and it's only possible because I paid for the Cinti full asset pass for 3 months. Without that, there's no way I would touch 3D. Yeah, things like that make things a lot easier. Okay. All right. Enough tangential rambling. Let's get back into this. So let's do initial work on what? So this artifact now is going to be a lot more difficult because it actually has gameplay changes. So the first artifact was relatively easy. Let's do poison. Let's just call it, let's see, create new artifact. Poison heal. Now, what do we want to call this one? Paste, make unique. Maybe like a venom. No, a venom. Maybe just venom. I don't know. Start each combat with 1 health. all poison damage dealt heals for the same amount. I need a way of showing these descriptions in game as well. So this is where we're going to probably need to introduce a script here. And by probably, I mean yes, we're going to need to introduce a script. So what I want to do, let's figure out the first part of that, which is to start each combat encounter at 1 health. So how are we actually going to do that? That's a brilliant question. I'm glad you asked. So we have the combat started here. So it would be simple enough to connect to this combat started signal here and just set the player's health to 1 immediately. The problem is I may want to show some kind of floating text that tells the player your health is being set to 1 because the venom artifact took effect. So the problem with just responding to a signal is I have no way of like halting the game progression to wait for an animation in response to a signal, right? And I think a lot of people get into this weird state when they're trying to do turn-based games in Godot where they have all these signals flying around, but they need to orchestrate and like put delays in there for animations and stuff. And so you end up like with these ping-ponging signals where it's like, okay, I'm starting this and now I'm going to wait for this to tell me that it's done. And then I think that's a very bad way of doing signals. In my opinion, signals should always be handled like instantaneously instead of like trying to sequence signals in like the proper way to like make sure that animations and, you know, whatnot are being waited for. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to opt for a more direct approach where basically what I'm going to do is I think what I'll do is I'll create a base abstract class for the artifact. I will create an on combat started method inside of that artifact that returns a task that can be awaited. And then what I'll do is I will, through the artifact manager, I will basically call that method on all of the artifacts and await them all. And then I can just call that method in like the turn manager, basically. So this encounter began. Easier said than done, I guess. Encounter began, where is this coming from? Yeah, so I think here's what I'm thinking about doing. Public void on combat started. This is actually going to be a task, public async task, using system.threading.tasks on combat started. So what we'll do is we will... Oh, this is the artifact container. I'm in the wrong place. Oops. Why, yes, I am a Godot veteran. Why do you ask? Okay, so here. Artifact resource. So I need to convert this into a script. The way I'm linking scripts to resources is a little bit wonky. So we'll do venom.cs. We're going to do a base artifact.cs. Namespace game.data.artifact. Public abstract class. Base artifact. Do I want to make this a ref counted? I don't think so. I don't think I need to make this ref counted. Okay. Public virtual async task on combat started. Do I need to put async here, or can I do async? Can I put async on an overridden version of this? I don't know if async needs to be part of the signature or not. I don't think so, actually. Venom, base artifact, public override task. So can I do async? Oh yeah, that looks like that works. Okay, so yeah, async doesn't need to be part of the method signature. That's good. So we'll just return task.completed task by default. So on combat started, this is where I can do my await inside of here. And basically what's going to happen is I'm going to call on combat started here. I'm going to do await task.whenAll artifacts.select artifact.onCombatStarted. So now here's the problem. This artifacts is a list of artifact resource, but I need this to be a list of base artifact. So yeah, that's a problem. What I could do in here is yeah, this is going to be a little bit wonky, but oh well. Let's see. Ability scalar. Oh, goodness. I have so much chat. Aren't NFTs downright horrendous for the environment? Well, I don't think so. I mean, you have to assume that all the energy being generated is dirty, but if we built a bunch of nuclear power plants, then there would be no effect on the environment whatsoever. I think it's generally like a bad idea. Like if you are going to hold back technological progress because we need too much energy, the answer is not to hold back energy. The answer is to build more energy. And if we were smart, we'd be building nuclear power plants out the wazoo, but no one wants to do that for some reason. So why do you use sprite sheets as opposed to individual sprites? So I don't usually actually do sprite sheets. For the artifact here, I'm using a sprite sheet, you could call it, but it's more of like an atlas texture. And the reason is because I'm just going to be able to see everything all at once. I have a bunch of tiny individual textures here, and yeah, I have a bunch of tiny individual textures, and so I just want to be able to see them all and edit them all in one place. I guess atlas textures are more performant too, for some reason. I don't exactly know why. Maybe it has something to do with draw calls, but I would not use an atlas texture for performance reasons unless I needed it. But yeah, I think it's just easier to see all of my artifacts drawn out here, where I can just go in and make edits to them and then export them as one giant texture and configure them as an atlas texture. But I typically don't do sprite sheets, actually. Usually I just draw the static sprite and use them standalone. So really enjoying your vids. Thank you for the informational review vids. Helps a lot get my structure improved. You're welcome. Thank you, Noah. Hello, Snup Bill. Thank you for the IDR 20,000. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I very much appreciate that. Always appreciated, and welcome back to the stream. Have you exported a game from Godot to iPad? I have not. No, I'm sorry. Welcome back, Bastion, by the way. My Coon Dev sends me another 99-cent euro cents. Wow, thank you so much. Very much appreciate that. You guys are being very generous today. Thank you. IDK, how you do it with 68 people in the chat? I choke as soon as I get one and I don't know what to work on. Yeah, you have to have a good tolerance for being told that your work is bad. 68 is really close to the magic number. Yeah, for sure. Back in VS Code, I see. Yeah, cursor was not working with C# dev kit, but apparently it works now. I just haven't tried it again. Nice. Yes, nice indeed. What's the main downside to making each artifact its own scene with corresponding script? It could even extend a base artifact type. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah. So I am doing a base artifact type. So the only thing that's unique here is, well, they'll each have their own script. Let's see. Yeah, so each artifact is not going to be its own scene. It's going to have its own script and its own resource, that's for sure. But they are going to extend, so all the artifact resources are obviously going to be artifact resource, and then there's going to be a base artifact type that contains the logic for how that resource works. And we just need to get it working so that, we're actually linking that base artifact script to the artifact resource. But they're not going to be their own scenes. I don't think it's necessary to make them their own scenes. I should be able to just configure everything in the script and in the resource and then have it just work through the game. So we're going to see. Yummers indeed, yeah. I can definitely see compute being the new currency in the future. Yeah, I mean, if you think about every sci-fi story that's ever written, it all involves humans corralling massive amounts of energy. And I think that's like, of all of the sci-fi predictions, that one seems like the most rock solid. Is like, our energy needs are only going to go up like dramatically into the future. And so we need to find a way to deal with that. Draw calls in VRAM. Yeah. I just think on modern systems, it's probably like, for a 2D pixel game, you could probably just like be wasteful with draw calls in VRAM and it won't make a difference. Like, I mean, the entirety of Gunforge can fit into like normal RAM, you know? I can't think of a single person who calls your work bad. Wow, that's interesting. That's very interesting, actually. I can think of at least one person, Kenyaz. Anyway, so let's see. So, what am I doing? What am I doing? So I need to figure out a way of linking these scripts together. I think what that means is I need to go into my card definition resource. So here, this is how I'm actually linking the scripts. So I have my script path reference here, which I'm going to need. So let's bring this over to the artifact resource. This is going to be in res scripts data artifact. And in here, what I'm doing with this is I've got this C# script here. So basically, because C# scripts can be loaded as resources, you can do gd.load C# script, and then you can instantiate it like this. It's kind of weird, but it works. So I'm going to do this actually. This artifact resource to base artifact. We're going to do var script is equal to gd.load base script path with the Pascal ID. So Pascal case ID and normal ID. So in the case of Venom, it's going to load venom.cs, and then it's going to return base artifact. So cast script.new to the base artifact. And there we go. Cannot convert type Godot.variant. Why is this a problem? Oh, this is ref counted. Oh. I wish I had TypeScript. I could do as unknown as whatever to just, anyway. Script.new. I wonder why it doesn't like that. This needs to be a variant, or no, as base artifact. Does that work? Must be a variant compatible type. Do I need to make this base artifact ref counted? I don't want to do that, but... it'll work if I do that. I don't know why... maybe this isn't the best way of doing it. gd.load C# script. Is there documentation for the C# script maybe? Let me look at that. It is the equivalent of the GD script class and is only available in mono-enabled Godot builds. Yeah, so this only returns a variant. Okay, well, I guess I'll just use ref counted there to make it a variant. It's a little bit... oh, wait. Yeah, it's a little bit bad, but whatever. It's fine. Okay, so anyway, we linked that script, that base artifact script, to the resource now. And then when we duplicate it, we're just creating a new instance of that script, or that object that the script is defining. GTA 6 trailer 2 dropped, by the way. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. I don't know if I'm terribly interested in the GTA stuff. I used to play it a lot. I used to like it, but I just haven't been able to get back into those Rockstar style games. GTA and Red Dead Redemption 2, they just, I don't know. Too much time investment, I guess. I don't know. Hello, Lewis Michael. Been watching your VODs around the multiplayer prototype. I'm grateful for the way you explain code as you write it, which is very helpful for a new coder like me. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Yeah, and it doubles as making the stream more entertaining too, so that's great. But yeah, thank you for your message. I very much appreciate that. Anyway, so now we've done that little detour. So now what I can do in this artifact manager here is I'm going to create... so yeah, artifact.base artifact on combat started. So basically, I'm just going to iterate. I'm going to wait for all of the on combat started methods to finish on the base artifact. And so in Venom here, now I'm going to need to do this. So the goal here is we want to keep all of the artifact logic inside of the artifact script. So this artifact needs to set the player health to 1 and also heal the player for all poison damage. So we need some kind of context here. We're going to need context. So if the artifact is going to be entirely responsible for modifying the game state in accordance with how the artifact needs to behave, then it needs to have all the context to do that. And I think that's just a very good goal when you're designing a system like this, is like, you should make the code as self-contained as possible. You don't want to have a bunch of checks throughout the code base checking, oh, does the player have this artifact? I mean, I've already done that once, and that was just kind of like a judgment that I had to make. I don't remember where, I just did it last hour, but generally speaking, I don't want to just litter the code base with a bunch of checks. Does the player have this artifact? Does the player have this artifact? I want to do things in as agnostic as a way as possible. So in the artifact manager, I'm just going to say, hey, on combat started, just execute all the on combat started methods for the artifacts that you have. And then each artifact is going to be responsible for doing what it needs to do. The problem, though, is that now I need to pass in a context object. So the first thing I'm going to do is in here, await this dot get artifact manager dot on combat started. So this is what I would do. So await on combat started. Now what I could do actually is, no, I'm going to need that await in there because I don't want the timer to start until that has started. So I need the context in here. So we need to be able to create a context object. And what is the best way to do that? So we've got a turn context. We're going to need like an artifact context, I think. I may not actually even need to do that. Let's create a new artifact context.cs. Namespace game.data.artifact public class artifact context. The one thing I know I'm going to need is a scene tree. So public scene tree. And we'll just start it off with that, and we'll see how far I can get with just that. So the artifact manager here, on combat started, I'm going to require an artifact context here. And then this on combat started needs to have an artifact context, which means that this needs to have an artifact context. And then when I call this in the turn manager here, we're going to need to create an artifact context. So I'm going to actually do that in here. Public artifact context, create artifact context. This is probably going to change as my needs change, but we're just going to do this for now. Return new artifact context. Scene tree is equal to get tree. So this is a good tip for your scripts and whatnot. Sometimes you have a script that's a pure script that's not attached to a node in the scene tree, but you need a way of accessing the scene tree so you can access nodes in certain groups and whatnot. The easiest way to do that is just to have a context object where you pass in the scene tree. So if you can create the context object from a script that is attached to the node, then you can just get the tree that the node is currently in, which is just like the main tree, and you can pass it along in your context. And then when you get into pure scripts here, what I can do now is I can do things artifact context dot scene tree dot get nodes in group. See, I have access to this now in this script, even though this script is not in the scene tree anywhere. So I can do scene tree operations in here from this Venom. This is something that I did quite heavily in Gunforged, because all of my Gunforged like passives and weapon modifiers were all pure scripts. They did not exist anywhere in the scene tree for the most part. So I was able to keep everything just sort of like isolated to pure scripts, which made things a lot easier. So this was a little bit messy right now, but we'll figure that out. So on combat started, we just need to set the player health to 1. So I think what I can do is I can do artifact context dot scene tree dot get board get dot root. Goodness gracious. Using Godot utilities. No. Game.util. Ooh, do I have two? Oops, do I have two namespaces? Oops. Oh, this is wrong. Game.util. I think I messed up my namespaces here. 1 second. Yeah, here. There we go. Get board manager. Okay. get player board. I forgot what I have to do to damage the board here. Oops. Board combat component. Damage physical. Yeah, so this is what I need. Okay, so var player board is equal to this. Player board dot board combat component dot damage physical. So var player health is equal to player board dot health component dot max health minus, or yeah. Then we're gonna do damage physical player health -1 false. This needs to be an int. Let's just do mathf dot round to int. Or floor to int. Can I just set the health? I probably need to be able to set the health, but that's okay. Player board health component. You know what I'll do? If player board equals null, return. So anyway, that's basically what it would look like. But let's see. I'm more interested in the tech side of things when it comes to GTA 6. Yes. What I'm really interested in is like the ragdolls in the Rockstar games are always like really good. Like the best ragdolls in any game I've ever played. Hello, Alex Sir Weaver. Thanks for the last vid. Hope that series will continue to say really useful things. Yes, I'm going to be recording the next video of that series very soon, I think. But yeah, for anyone watching the VOD or anyone watching live right now, there's a Google form pinned in the chat where you can submit your Godot project. For those that are unfamiliar, I'm doing a code review series on this channel where I will potentially open up your project, look through the code, look through the scene structure, and make recommendations and comments about what's going on. And the idea is that that's going to be useful to you as a developer, but it's also going to be useful generally to the audience to see what various disparate Godot projects look like and to see things that are done well and things that could be done better. So it's just generally educational. So if you're interested in potentially having one of your projects featured, you can use the link that's pinned to submit your project through the Google form. And yeah, there's again, possibility that you'll be covered. It's only a possibility. I'm not gonna it's not like a backlog that I'm just gonna work through 100%. I'm just gonna pick and choose the projects that I think are most interesting in terms of content wise. But regardless of what state your project is in, you can submit it. So if it's at the very beginning stages or if it's almost complete, any game in between is perfectly fine. So yeah, the watch count for this one is super high. I know we've got a lot of viewers here. Welcome everybody. Pog morning people, welcome Sanzo, good to see you. I can chat now. I thought only paid member. No, you can only chat if you're subscribed. So that is an anti-bot measure. It seems to clean up the bots that tend to pop in. So you can only be a chatter if you're subscribed to the channel. Hello, Aniran. Is that Godot C#? Yes, it is. Do you mind explaining how the board tile map work? I've been looking for something similar. Can't find anyone else that has something like it. Yeah, so I do have a tile map for the board here. I don't think I can actually run the game right now. But the tile map is purely visual. I'm actually doing all the snapping and card dragging functionality just purely in script and just using the tile map position as like the proper offset. But yeah, the tile map is really only for showing the grid, the tiling grid. That's it. It doesn't have any gameplay functionality. It's purely visual. But I'm happy to answer any more specific questions you have. Aesthetics of this game look awesome. Thank you, Samurai Kina. Very much appreciate that and welcome back. Studying Fenwick's tree and similar structs was a waste of time. Just received exam answers. They were not used anywhere. There's probably no use for it in my hobbies as well. Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that. Tried defending it so bad when I talked to you about it, but there's no use for it in game dev. Yeah. I mean, maybe somewhere there's a very specific use case, but yeah. That's what I'm talking about with like college and stuff. A lot of it is just like theory that you really have to like stretch to apply the theory anywhere in your like your day-to-day job. That doesn't mean that it's not useful, but it's also like, you know, like The day-to-day job of like writing your gameplay logic or doing a SaaS app is like, you don't like basically just don't do like nested for loops and you're like 95% of the way to writing performant code. Anyway, what is your game? It's necromancy, alchemy, medieval science-based collectible card auto battler, which I would explain in more detail, but I don't think the game is going to build right now. Structs on C++. Hello, Tupa. I don't understand Godot C#. Well, it's, you know, it's like anything. You just gotta get used to it. Lurk. Yes, Neozoid. I'm glad you're still lurking. My current bad style does not have any pure scripts and just every script be on a node in the scene tree. I think because I don't understand pure scripts. Yeah, that is, you know, it's not necessarily terrible to do everything on a node, but if something doesn't need access to the scene tree or signals or anything, then yeah, there's no reason why it has to be a node. I'm Godot GD making a farming RPG for almost 1 month. Awesome. Globals.main.getTree. That, yeah, static get tree would be useful too. Using global, you need to manually get tree, right? Hello, Dragon Apple. Welcome back. I'm going to do a game jam pretty soon, and I'm probably going to use Godot too. Awesome. I cannot wait for the GMTK jam. I really enjoy the GMTK jams a lot, and yeah, I think I'd be able to create something good. There's a genius guy in code. I like that. Are you talking to me? I don't know if I would consider myself a genius. Maybe above average. Please make sure you run all projects on a VM. Yeah, I usually test. I actually have a USB stick. Where is it? I think it's this USB stick. I installed a Linux distro on this USB stick that I can boot from, specifically for testing Gunforged. So it's not even a VM. It's like an actual running operating system. Good to give visibility to your game. Hello, Matthias. Welcome back. Have you tried streaming on Twitch? The reason I don't want to stream on Twitch is because, number one, all of my audience is here on YouTube already. And number two, Twitch has a terms of service conditional where you are not allowed to show the chat from other platforms on your screen. So if you show chat on screen on a Twitch stream, it can only be the Twitch chat. So if I were to multi-stream, I'd basically not be able to show the YouTube comments on the screen, which I don't like. So I'm just gonna stick to YouTube. Also, I just don't like Twitch generally. Twitch just seems like a mess to me. I really want to make simple turn-based RPG, but every time I try, I get frustrated. Do you have any tips or tutorials? Yeah, the only thing I can recommend is maybe just like a mindset shift. I think that you should go into it expecting that you're going to hit barriers and going into it with the mindset that you are going to have to spend a lot of time overcoming those barriers. That development, even for somebody like me who has a lot of experience, it's not always smooth sailing. Sometimes you hit walls that you need to find a way around or through, and that's especially true. Like the frequency of hitting walls is going to be a lot higher if you're new to game development and programming. So I'm sorry, the best advice I can give you is the only way out is through, and you have to sit down when you're working with the expectation that you're going to hit a wall that you need to find a way around. Now, what I could maybe recommend to you is have a chat with ChatGPT whenever you encounter an issue, and have ChatGPT help you think through the issues that you're encountering, and have it explain things to you. It's like having your own personal tutor, and it can be very helpful. Need to study behavior tree. I feel like it might be useful for the game I'm working on. Yeah, behavior trees are very, very cool. I think that they can be very useful. I personally choose not to use them in my projects, but if I ever had a situation where like a behavior tree would be an obvious choice, then I would definitely use it. How do you approach for a 3D game jam? Well, typically what I do is I get all of my boilerplate code out of the way. So I set up my GitHub repository, I set up my Godot project, I add whatever utility scripts that I need to add or that I want to have in place. I set up the display settings, the rendering settings. I may set up a basic options menu because I know that I want the player to be able to change like the volume of the music and the sound effects. Set up the music and sound effect buses. basically get all the boilerplate stuff that you know that you're going to need out of the way, and so you can go into it immediately and start writing code. That's basically how I do it. For certain game jams, you may have an indicator of what the theme is going to be ahead of time, like the Ludum Dare game jam narrows it down to like 10 potential themes. So what I do in that case is I write one sentence ideas for each of the themes that I want to make so that I have something to work with immediately when the jam starts, so I don't have to spend the first couple hours of the jam thinking of my idea. I'll even do that for GMTK. Like, I'll just write down games that I would like to make for the game jam. And if the theme or when the theme shows up, I see if I can like modify those ideas to fit the theme better. Nested loops, you should check command and conquer code. Yeah, I mean, nested loops is one of those things where it's like, it's not always bad, obviously, but is a game.utils class a global script so it can be used in any context? Well, in my case, game.utils is a namespace that contains a bunch of static utility methods, yes. But yeah, either global script in C# you would call it static. But yes, that's correct, Marcos. How do you store the position and make others aware of everyone else's position? I want to make something similar for a skill gem system. Well, without enough context, I'm not sure I can answer that correctly. What you could do is you could just put the entities that you need to grab positions for inside of a group, and then you can just call get nodes in group, and then you have all of the nodes there, and then you can just read their positions from that. That might be a way to do it. Just waiting for I don't understand Godot C# to get the reply if you should try my Godot C# course. Oh, well, yeah. The problem is my courses are for more like intermediate skill levels, and so if you don't understand C# because you're a beginner programmer, it actually wouldn't be an appropriate course for you. But that's true, I do have a C# course, so if you're interested, check that out. Could you explain why you'd need something to be a component and has to be attached to a scene versus a class? Right, so the main reason to have components is because they can access the scene tree and they can respond to signals and all that stuff. So for instance, the health component emits and receives signals a lot of times. And so making that a node just makes that easier. Now you could make it a script. I believe that resources can receive signals as well, or maybe all Godot objects can send and receive signals. So I think you can make a pure script that just extends a Godot object or a ref counted or something and still send and receive signals. But yeah, typically it's just easier to make them nodes. And also the benefit of making them nodes is that you can make them configurable in the editor inspector. But sometimes you'll also have components that have a position element, and so you want them to be node 2D so you can position them in the scene, right? Like a shadow component, you might want to reposition. So it wouldn't be necessarily a good idea to make that like a pure script. Yeah, C#, the main limitation is no web export. YouTube stream was using 4 gig of system RAM though. Your system? Or mine? Wait, is mine? Interesting. Twitch is a real mess. Customer service is terrible as YouTube. Trying your Godot C# course again and finally getting more used to increasing complexity of the project and code. Awesome. Glad to hear that. ChatGPT seems to be getting dumber by the day. Yeah, I believe that, though. Use ChatGPT as a big help. Yes. Learn and not do code. Right, yeah. Using it as a tutor. Yeah, you definitely don't want to just copy and paste the code it gives you. You want it to explain the code to you. Kenny Game Jam, by the way, it's one of the interesting jams. When is that happening? Oh, is that the one that's like a week long? I don't want to spend a week on a game jam. Just feed ChatGPT with your code and then he will reply like heaven. I will never give up on convincing you to take part in Kenny Game Jam. Well, you are persistent. That is one thing I will give you, Kenyas. Was here before you released Gunforged. Here you are working on another game I see. What's this one about? This is a collectible card game, necromancy, alchemy, medieval science themed, auto battler. Kind of in the same vein as the Bazaar and Backpack Heroes, but instead of being asymmetric multiplayer, it is a roguelike. So yeah, it'll be kind of like a mixture of Slay the Spire and auto battlers that you are familiar with. Hopefully I'll be able to show some of the gameplay, but goodness gracious, I need to work, but I gotta, keeping up with chat with this many viewers is Difficult. How do I'll trust ChatGPT that it replies correctly? Well, yeah. You try what it says and see if it works. Yep. If you don't make a node, it's harder to do composition. Yes. The one tap. Oh my goodness. What is one unconventional but genuinely effective tip to share with game developers? Why does it make such a difference? I don't know if this is unconventional, but adopt as many constraints as you can. That sounds weird, but a game's vision, its creativity, and the way the systems work together just becomes so much better when you narrowly restrict yourself. And this is true of the art too. The reason why I'm using a 7 or 8 color palette is because it really forces a strong visual identity, but it also forces me to get better at pixel art because I have this many constraints. I can't just choose any pixel I want or any color I want when I'm drawing my pixel art. So I have to work through, like, how do I get this to appear to the viewer with the right impression? Like, how do I give the viewer of this art the impression that this is a shovel or a spade, right? How do I give the impression of like a blood vial and a skeleton and a marionette? And those things are very challenging, but they create this very striking visual style as a result. The same is true of like your game design. You know, instead of adding a bunch of features all the time, try to just like have 1 or 2 core features and just build everything around that. Like squeeze as much out of those things as you can. And that's really useful for game jams in particular. Like game jams are very good way of practicing this. Like come up with one mechanic and then stretch that mechanic to as thin as you can. Like just get as much out of it as possible. And I think you'd be amazed at how much better your art and your games become when you adopt that constraint mindset. Like voluntarily restrict yourself to doing 1 or 2 things and see what you can do with that. It's very useful. You mentioned a tile map is just visual, so I was wondering how positions are stored to make the other cards aware of them. Oh, I see. I don't think I have any need of the cards. There aren't really cards that need to know the positioning of other cards, but I do have storage. I store the tile position of the cards in like a card manager. And so I can just look up a card. I can take a card object and say, hey, what is this card's position? And it returns it for me. Claude and ChatGPT have been the best rubber duck since the rubber duck. Yes, absolutely, Jackie. Gonna lurk since it's dinner time. Oh, enjoy your dinner. I hope you're having something absolutely delicious. Kenny has 2 days and all assets are pre-made. Don't waste it. Okay, all right, I'll consider it. What made you want to do a card game? How long have you been working on this? Well, the reason I wanted to do a card game is because I played the Bazaar when it went into open beta, and I was like, this would be really fun as like a roguelike. And so that's basically why I wanted to make it. Also, I think auto battlers have been popular and maybe are becoming more popular. I think there's a sense in which like auto battlers this in the same vein as like Vampire Survivors. So I think there's a lot of room to explore like roguelike auto battlers. I don't think that that's necessarily an oversaturated genre on Steam yet, and I think that there's a lot of room for innovation. And so I'm going to try my hand at making such a game, and we'll see what happens. 10,000% with constraint advice. I struggle with this constantly. Yeah, it creates more focused games. It makes you better at just making games that have tight mechanics and striking visuals. And you kind of stave off a little bit of the scope creep too if you commit to just very narrow constraints, because scope creep can't come in if it's going to introduce a new mechanic or a new system, right? Do you sculpt in pixel draw rather than draw? Do I sculpt in pixel draw? I don't know what you mean, Dragon Apple. I just draw my art by hand with the mouse in here. I am not keeping up with chat. No, I'm not. ChatGPT replied to me like AAA indie game dev. All he wants to share your dreams and imagination. Oh, ChatGPT. My biggest problem with the chatbots is they're way too agreeable. Like, I want the chatbot to tell me that my idea is stupid and that it's not going to work. But they won't do that. They're just like your best friend, and they just like validate everything you have to say. I think that's honestly one of their biggest weaknesses. Anyway, right. let's run the game now. I should see the player health go to 1 when I start a combat, I think. Oh, I need to add the artifact. Oops. This dot get artifact manager dot add artifact ID dot. Oh, this is going to be venom. No, not venomous. Oh, artifact resource, artifact registry dot from ID. Okay. All right, let's see. Oh, you have me. Yes, I do. Yeah, that is true, Kinyaz. Why not tell the GPT to be your critic? I don't think that works very well, but does it work? When you said ChatGPT was too agreeable, I'll never waste a chance to say your idea is stupid. I know, Kinyaz. I know. It's a very endearing quality. I screwed something up. Cannot open file booster option. What? Oh, there's no script for the booster option. I see. Okay, well, to make this happy, I'm just going to do duplicate. What? Is there no regular copy? What's going on here? Copy. So this, unfortunately, is just going to have nothing in it, but that's fine. Okay, this should work now. This should work now. Are you kidding me? Cannot instantiate. Oh. These should not be abstract anymore. Goodness gracious. Object reference not set to instance of object. Artifact resource 42. Oh, this is called poison heal. Oh. I used the wrong ID here. Rename. So the ID is different than the display name. I'll get this right eventually. Failed to build project. Any reason why you develop in C# over GDScript? Check the, I'm gonna follow Kinyaz's advice. I've got FAQs in the description below, or you can read about that if you're interested. As an overbearing game director, yeah, that's a good idea. Do you find it funny you're making a game about a necromancer while using Dracula color scheme? Ooh, yeah, that's true. Oh, I should add vampire stuff. That'd be kind of cool. Vampire themed cards. All right. So this is not correct. I need to redraw that, but let's see. Add enchantment to card. Echo enchant. I have so much work to do. Alchemize cards. All right, let's see if this works. So I should be set to 1 health. Boom, I just took 49 damage and I'm gonna die. Cool. So that part is working. Might have to change that number, but that's working. So you can see that the artifact actually worked. This poison heal. So now I need to make it so that way anytime poison damage is dealt, the player heals. That's going to be interesting. Damage poison. Target board combat component damage poison. So I need to heal the player now every time the poison damage is dealt. How am I going to do that? I don't know. You're welcome, Ryan. Yeah. You should make your FAQ more detailed, by the way. It's like 2 words. What do you mean it's like 2 words? It's like it's like 2 paragraphs. Vampires, Mummies, Frankenstein would be awesome. Yes, I agree. Inventory mechanic I like to add in my game. I think I really like it. Yeah. I think I just, yeah, the static like inventory that's always available. Okay, I don't know how to do this actually. So the question is, how do I track the poison damage that's dealt so that the player can be healed? So I'm going to ask you should give the answer as 2 words, and you should have the detailed overview in FAQ. Like a NuGet package and specific performance boosts. Yeah, NuGet packages would be something to mention, but I don't use C# for performance reasons. Would be more helpful. I can think about expanding it. I mean, I just threw it together. I don't know if it's necessary to spend too much time on it, but I got a lot going on. I have a lot going on. All right, so let me think. I need a way of tracking various events that happen. I don't know how to do that because, so the poison damage is happening in here. So poison status is targeting, so I'm kind of... The problem is this poison status... Oh wait, this is poison... Right. This is a poison status. So the problem is that this is a status effect that applies after the turn in which the poison was applied, if that makes sense. So poison is like damage that ticks down over time. And so I need to notify that a board has taken poison damage so that the player can heal. But I think that also needs to be sequenced. So that way, like, poison damage happens and then there's like a player heal animation that happens there. And I probably need to indicate in some way that that's coming from your Venom object, Venom artifact. Yeah, I'm going to need to figure out how to get that information into this artifact. But I need to do it in a way that it's extensible for future artifacts as well. I think basically what I should probably do is maybe I should do something like... Public virtual task on damage dealt or something. Board, to board, damage type, int amount. Well, it is critical hit, something like that. And then in the venom here, or poison heal rather, public override void. On damage dealt. I'm going to get the player board again. Oh, I don't have... Oh, shoot. Yeah, this is going to be tough. But basically what I would do in here is... Yeah, just check the damage type, make sure that it's poison. And then I would heal down here. And then add some kind of... delay, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. You should include a Caduceus item card. It's the staff with the snake helix around it. Very on theme for alchemy hermeticism. Okay. I don't know how to say that. Caduceus? I will bookmark that. Thank you for the suggestion. If you asked ChatGPT to give you reasons, he would write a much better paper. Yeah, probably. For every new like this vid gets in the next 5 minutes, I'll do 1 push-up. Well, I hope you're tracking them because I don't... I don't know. I'm not going to count them. That's hilarious. I hope you're doing well. I thought you were going to use GDScript on future projects. Is it just because you have so much you can reuse in C#? Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. This is vague. Well, I mean... Is it vague? That ends up being my answer every time the question gets asked, so... Like, I'm not going to go into an in-depth, detailed description of how C# works in the FAQ. Anyway, so I'm going to have to do something like this, but I am losing my voice, and also I'm hungry. So it's time to end the stream and get some lunch. But thank you everyone for watching. Thank you all for being here. I very much appreciate all of you and all the VOD watchers and lurkers as well. Thank you to everyone who sent in super chats as well. That's also very much appreciated. So if you want to support my work, again, you can check out the links in the description below. I've got Gunforged available for sale. It's my first real commercial release as an indie game developer. And also, I've got my Udemy courses, 1 in GDScript and 1 in C# that you can take a look at. Also, look at the form link that's in the live stream chat. It's pinned. That is the way that you can submit your Godot projects for code review. So if you saw my recent code review video and you want your Godot project to potentially be featured, use that form link. I'll just go over the project and make comments and critiques about how it's laid out and what's all going on in there for education purposes. So yeah, thanks again, everyone, for all your support. And I will hope to see you all tomorrow at the same time, 10 a.m. Eastern. All right, bye-bye, everyone.